Welcome back to our channel, where we dive into the lives of the rich and famous. Today we're pulling back the curtain on the jaw-droppingly lavish world of Ronaldo Jr., the young prince of football royalty. Imagine being born into a life where luxury isn't just an occasional treat, but a daily standard. From zooming around in luxury cars that most of us can only dream about, to sporting designer outfits that could pay for a year's rent, Ronaldo Jr.'s lifestyle is nothing short of extraordinary. And it doesn't stop there. Private jets, exclusive vacations, and custom-made gadgets are all just a tip of the iceberg. Stick around as we uncover the insanely expensive things that Cristiano Ronaldo's son owns, proving that the apple doesn't fall far from the opulent tree. First, let's set the stage. Ronaldo Jr., also known as Cristiano, has grown up in the spotlight thanks to his legendary dad. And with that comes a lifestyle most of us can only dream about. Cristiano Ronaldo Jr. is the eldest son of football superstar Cristiano Ronaldo. Born on June 17, 2010 in San Diego, California, he has been in the public eye since birth, growing up amidst immense fame and luxury. Despite his young age, Ronaldo Jr. has already shown a keen interest in football, frequently training alongside his father and displaying impressive skills on the field. Living a life of unparalleled privilege, he enjoys access to elite education, state-of-the-art training facilities, and a plethora of high-end gadgets and toys. His upbringing, under the guidance of one of football's greatest icons, promises a future filled with opportunities both in the sporting world and beyond. Let's start with his incredible car collection. At just 13 years old, Ronaldo Jr. boasts a car collection that even some billionaires would envy. Even though he's too young to drive, that hasn't stopped him from owning some of the most luxurious cars in the world, thanks to his dad. Take this Bugatti Veyron, for instance, worth a staggering $2 million. This beast of a car can reach speeds of over 250 miles per hour. Imagine having this parked in your driveway while you're still in middle school. And then there's the Ferrari F12, another gem in Ronaldo Jr.'s collection. This car isn't just about speed, it's a symbol of status and luxury with a price tag of around $400,000. While these cars are technically owned by Cristiano Ronaldo, he made it clear that they are part of Ronaldo Jr.'s future inheritance. Talk about an epic start to a car collection. Next up, let's talk about fashion. Ronaldo Jr. is often seen sporting the latest trends, and his wardrobe is nothing short of spectacular. From Gucci to Louis Vuitton, his closet is filled with designer brands. But the piece de la resistance has to be his custom-tailored suits. Yes, you heard that right, custom-tailored suits for a teenager. Each suit costs upwards of $5,000, ensuring that Ronaldo Jr. always steps out in style. And let's not forget the limited edition pieces. This Gucci jacket, for example, costs a whopping $3,000. Exclusivity and luxury are key when it comes to Ronaldo Jr.'s wardrobe. Now, what's luxury lifestyle without the latest tech gadgets? Ronaldo Jr. has access to some of the coolest and most expensive toys out there. Check out this gaming setup. With a top-of-the-line PC worth $10,000, a full VR system, and every gaming console you can think of, Ronaldo Jr. has a gamer's paradise right in his home. And it doesn't stop there. How about a gold-plated iPhone? Priced at $5,000, this iPhone isn't just a device, it's a statement piece. He also has a high-end drone collection. This DJI Phantom 4 Pro, for instance, costs around $2,000, perfect for capturing those stunning aerial shots of his luxurious lifestyle. Education and personal development are crucial, and Cristiano Ronaldo ensures his son gets the best of both worlds. Ronaldo Jr. attends one of the most prestigious private schools in Spain with an annual fee of over $20,000. This school offers top-notch education, ensuring Ronaldo Jr. gets the best academic foundation. But academics aren't the only focus. Ronaldo Jr. also receives elite football training. He has access to state-of-the-art facilities and personal coaches, costing his dad around $15,000 a year. With such resources, it's no wonder he's already showing signs of following in his father's footsteps. When it's time to relax, Ronaldo Jr. doesn't settle for anything less than extraordinary. The family often takes vacations to some of the most exotic and luxurious destinations in the world. For instance, they stayed on private islands that cost up to $50,000 a night. Imagine having an entire island to yourself with every luxury imaginable at your fingertips. And then there are those ski trips. Staying at high-end resorts in the Alps, which can cost upwards of $10,000 a week. Whether it's sun or snow, Ronaldo Jr. experiences it all in the lap of luxury. Sports aren't just limited to football for Ronaldo Jr. He enjoys a variety of sports, and he does so with exclusive memberships. Take this private golf course membership, for example. Memberships here can cost around $25,000 a year. It's not just about playing golf, it's about doing it in style and privacy. And let's not forget the tennis club, another exclusive membership costing $10,000 annually, ensuring Ronaldo Jr. has access to the best facilities and training in tennis as well. Birthdays are a big deal when you're Ronaldo Jr. These aren't just parties, they're extravagant events. Imagine having a birthday party with a superhero theme, complete with professional entertainers, elaborate decorations, and a cake that looks like it belongs in a museum. These parties can cost upwards of $50,000, ensuring every detail is perfect and every guest has an unforgettable time. And of course, there's the jewelry. Ronaldo Jr. has a collection of personalized jewelry that's both unique and incredibly valuable. This custom diamond-encrusted necklace, for instance, is worth $30,000. It's not just about the bling, it's about having the pieces that are one of a kind. Then there's his watch collection. With pieces from Rolex and Patek Philippe, some of these watches cost more than a luxury car. One of his prized pieces, a Rolex Daytona, is worth $40,000. It's clear that Ronaldo Jr. is living a life most of us can only dream of. From luxury cars to extravagant vacations, his lifestyle is a testament to the success and legacy of his father, Cristiano Ronaldo. While we can marvel at these expensive things, it's also inspiring to see how Cristiano Ronaldo is providing for his son and setting him up for a bright future. Who knows, maybe one day Ronaldo Jr. will make his own mark in the world just like his dad. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more amazing content. And if you have any ideas for new videos you'd like to see, let us know in the comments. Until next time, keep dreaming big.